Yay. Before we get started on the actual topic and what we're going to be talking about, if you don't mind giving me about 3 to 5 minutes of just a warm up, what are you guys seeing out there right now? You know, I like to make you Zoom talks. You can't just get on. I get you talking. All you people out there, what are you seeing?
We see the market hitting up. There's multiple offer again. Our flip is moving. So that's just not as bad as I thought.
Market's picking up. Is that residential and investor?
Just residential. For the investor, we're gonna continue to flip. We gotta stop for a little bit. So
okay. So you're seeing the market pick up. You're seeing more listings or more buyers?
More buyer for sure. Not enough listing.
Anybody else?
Lily and I have been doing open houses a lot lately, and there's a lot of buyers coming in.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's some good info. That means your open houses are picking up.
Yes.
Right? People are coming in. They want to see it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm seeing that too. I'm seeing more open house signs. And I'm in the business and I still want to kind of stop by and look. What else? What are we seeing? What about objections? What kind of objections are we hearing? Because last time we did a whole session on overcoming objections and the art of negotiation. I just want to, do you guys hear the same thing over and over? Do you have anything that you're up against?
Some people are still saying, yeah, I'm going to wait for the market to crash, but it's just bad right now. Still hearing that.
You're going to wait for the market to crash.
Yeah.
Does anybody, what do you say to that? Christina, what do you say?
I'm going to be honest, I stumble sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have something?
I still hear interest rates, so kind of the same as Christina.
Okay. So we'll spend just 2 minutes. Some of the God, this is why we do this, because that's out there and you're hearing it, right? We'll spend just a few minutes on just that specifically. Here's the thing. You've got to educate yourself on the history of real estate when interest rates were high, what happened with inflation. And I could do all that with you right now, but we have a whole different thing we're going to go over today. But again, I like to start this off with what's on the streets. You educate yourself on when interest rates were up and how the price points still went up. You educate yourself on when the interest rates will ever be that low again. Ask questions. Tell me what crash means to you. What are you waiting for? And ask without an intent of an answer. Ask them, because what Christina, what you think a crashing market is and what I think a crashing market is can be completely different. What I think a crashing market is and what my husband, who's not in real estate, thinks a crashing market is completely different. So, and if you want to spend some one-on-one time really diving into that, please shoot me a text. We can do a quick Zoom. We can actually sit down and I can pull together a very personalized script for you to have that conversation at a high level. Because I'm telling you right now, guys, it is the best time to buy or sell still. And we are not going to crash and interest rates are not going to get that much lower. And, I could go on and on and on, but still we want to reflect it to fit you. So does that help anybody at all?
Yes.
Ask the questions. And then again, if you want to do a one-on-one, we can sit and talk about the history of interest rates, inflation, and the overall economy and Texas. I can give you some really good stuff. But again, you got to ask what they mean by crash. Because I'm no lie, you could be like, well, what do you mean? You're talking to somebody and you say, well, the crash is, I read Revelations in the Bible and Jesus is coming tomorrow, so I'm not going to buy a house. Might not want to steer too much time on that, right?
That's funny.
I've actually heard it. I hear it all the time. Okay, so let's jump into today. Does everybody know what today's about? No? Okay, great. All right, good spread. So what I'm going to be presenting to you today, most of the material that I get anytime I do these classes, I have an amazing corporate coach. This corporate coach was, or she is, she's an executive corporate coach, not just in real estate, high level executive oil and gas, tech companies, I mean, up there. Now, what makes her so unique and what makes her amazing, and I have a point to this, is that she started her career as a title rep for another title company, was very successful, and then became a team leader at Keller Williams in another state and was very successful. So when I found this woman who had this very high level executive coaching company that is extremely successful, I see a couple things. One, I absolutely see somebody who has my background, so that gives them validity, right? I don't know many reps that have been team leaders. That was the personal thing. But two, this is somebody that's literally reinvented their business personally and professionally. So they have the ability to do it. They have a high level, in-depth, sought out for coaching company across the board, not just to their industry. So I've been coaching with this person for about 3 years. I do one-on-one, and then we do group coaching. So a lot of the material that I've presented over the last 2 years, really when pandemic happened, is a lot of the material that they will bring to us because it is so relevant. It works across the board. I think in our industry, we tend to just stick with agents and what agents are saying, but guess what? In the history of real estate, corporate America runs about 5 years ahead of real estate. Real estate agencies run about 5 years behind, right? We know that. I think COVID has changed that up. We won't get too much into that point, but other businesses that are doing other things remind us of the business that we're doing. So they've really brought some things to the table that for me, who's a guru, have been extremely helpful. And one of the things, it was the 10 commandments that drive sales. Now, this is a psychological, interpersonal reason for a human that drives sales, not just real estate, not title, not your, car. It is the emotional human experience behind buying, right? Or selling. It goes deeper. That's why I love this stuff. And it comes from, it's not like we're all just brilliant. It does come from, let me give credit where credit is due. Adapted from Anthony Lenario, and it's The Art of Closing, is really what this book and where it's from. So anyway, so when the winning the 10 commandments that drive sales says in human relationship, fast is slow and slow is fast. So in a human relationship, fast is slow and slow is fast. Does anybody know what that means? Give it a plug. What does that sound like to you? Because I had to read it a few times. Anyone want to stab at it?
I do. So like when you go fast, you usually are leaving room and margin for error and mistakes. And you have to keep redoing the same thing multiple times, as opposed to when you go slow, you pay more attention to detail, and it actually speeds up the process because you're not rushing through it.
Thank you, Carswell. Woo! He's good for speaking up. Yes. Now, why is this important to you guys? You are in an industry where you have two aspects of your business that the most successful people will balance both, right? In a perfect world, you have your lead generation, which is what you're taught from day one, which is fast. Cold calls, right? Expireds, sell by owners, get out there, get your buyers, call, do the script, do the script, do the script, do the script, little well-oiled machines. That's a very different business than your traditional build by your sphere of influence. And what we tend to see is agents usually go one way or the other. And what we tend to see is it's very rare that I see that they do both at a high level. I'm starting to see it more because of teams. But my point of sharing that is there's nothing wrong with that fast, fast, fast. You got to get that. You got to get that lead generation. You got to make that call. It's going to be slower to the sell with the fast, fast, fast. It just is what it is. Where people make a huge mistake is not paying attention to their sphere of influence. Everyone around you in this cell phone, the whole world can change, but this cell phone right here where you know people, you have a database. We're talking to these people and educating them on the market and giving things of value and asking who they know that they work with. You have an entire lead generation system just right here. Look at that guy. Isn't that guy cute? Oh, he's over the 10. That's my dad. People will say, is that your husband? I'm like, no, my husband doesn't have tattoos. My dad does. No, anyway. So point being, so in the lead generation process, fast is slow and slow is fast. You have to pay attention to your sphere of influence, which are the people that you know, and add to them. And that's a process. It is a process. It's the relationship. It takes more. So does that make sense? And I think truly your culture and the culture of top producers since the beginning of history, the culture of top producers that has changed is more of a fast pace lead generation, well-oiled machine. And when that market shifts, it's freaky. So that's why I wanted to bring this to you guys, because it's a combination of both. So there's 3 observations on this. The first one is the approach is based on a new philosophy of commitment gaining. Selling isn't something that you do to someone. It's something you do for someone and with someone. What that means, and I can send you these bullet points, by the way, after this. But what that means is right now, would you not agree that we are in a savvy consumer market? What does that mean? That means right now, real estate agents have to prove their value more than you have ever had to do in your life, because every consumer can get on HAR. They can swing a cat and hit a realtor. They think they know everything. You have never had to bring more value than you have to today. And it's just plain and simple. That's what it is. So how do you bring value? You bring what no algorithm can bring them. And that is wisdom, education, and experience, period. So you have to have that constant drip. This is the new philosophy of selling, as we have been inundated with sales agents, with spam calls, with all of these things. The good old fashioned, I mean, we're just in a world where it's, would you agree that it's a lot, right? And we've become almost numb. We just shut that phone right off. Doesn't mean I'm not telling you to stop doing it. I'm telling you there's a whole philosophy and psychology around building your business a little slower in addition to your cold call. Are you following me on that? Can I see some shake of hands? Okay. Number 2 is by strategically controlling the commitment gaining process, we help our prospects proceed by desire. So you're talking about getting somebody who's going to list or somebody that's going to buy. You are helping your prospects by no longer, I mean, I think there's a combination. I don't think there's a right, or I would say this, but I was raised, and I think it's safe to say you were raised in that script. I mean, I just taught them last week or 2 weeks ago, right? Well, if you don't buy now, you'll never find your house again. You know, like something, I made that up as I go, but it's a script. And today's day and age, they're going to see through that, and you're going to have to really perfect your skills from a verbal perspective and your intention and the psychology behind it. So your intention is moving somebody to a decision that you know they desire. Does that make sense to people? Can I get a comment on that?
It makes perfect sense for me, Tamara.
So can I ask you, do you ever get lost in that? Have you ever found yourself where you're like, you know, just script them out. I'll just go for the next script, and I go to next, and I go to next, and I go to next.
You're asking me? I'm actually the complete opposite. I'm more like on the slow side of things. So I don't have this problem, but a lot of time, you know, it's just you know, you don't have the fast money coming in.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah.
we talk about a 2-type agent, you know, the slow, and the fast. I'm completely on the slow side.
Yeah.
I need to move, you know, more toward like, you know, the fast a little bit.
Yeah. I've seen some really successful agents bomb in the last probably year or two, because it's just a different kind of world. Doesn't mean you need to do it, but the slower side is the psychology. It's it's happening. So it's by carefully crafting the value position for each commitment we ask for. So anything we're asked for, we're strategically crafting the value proposition. We're positioning to trade real value in each interaction with a prospect in exchange for the commitment they make. What does that sound like to you? What does that mean?
Can you say that again?
You're like, it was kind of a long sentence. Work with me. It's carefully crafting the value proposition for each commitment we ask for. So when I say the commitment we ask for, we're asking for them to do something like list their house, like put an offer, like accept the offer, the counter offer, like accept the option period, whatever they're going to do or what they're not going to do, getting them to do the decisions that get them to the closing table. That's the commitments. So he's using the word commitment for the ask, any kind of ask, and strategically crafting the value in them giving you that commitment. So it's a trade of real value for the exchange of any commitment they make. So those are the 3 observations that came to these 10 commandments. And again, what this is this is crafting the actual psychology behind asking for business. And it's different than just saying, can I get your next contract? And I hope you find value in the addition to that, because again, I promise that there's just it's a savvier world out there. So let's jump into the 10 commitments that drive sales. Okay. Number 1, a commitment of time. You're asking for a commitment of time. Anything you do with anyone, whether it's showing houses or talking to them, you're asking for a commitment of time. What is the most precious thing on our hands? Time. We are so used to instant gratification. Time has become extremely critical. And when you waste somebody's time, it's easier to turn them off and it's easier to waste their time. So the commitment for time, I'm just going to read it and then we'll talk about it. When we ask our prospects to give us their time, we have to give them at least equal value of insight and ideas that help them produce better results. This requires that we possess sufficient business acumen and situational knowledge to create value for them during every sales interaction. Obtaining the commitment for time is as necessary as the first step. It's also one of the most difficult. So let me break that down in time. So asking for sit down time where you can put a presentation together and a buyer's presentation, as opposed to just running out and showing them a house and being the person that they go and find all the lists and then you jump to their house. Have you guys ever felt like that? It gets more and more like that. But asking for the commitment of time, it's where we're asking our prospects to sit down to where we have undivided attention, which allows us to serve them with the information so that they can get to a desired result. That's asking for a commitment of a sit down one-on-one. Have you guys heard this before? Like, when you preach, if you're going on if you're going to do a buyer's, take on a buyer, right? Do you sit down and do buyer's presentations?
Never thought about it that way, but it's correct.
Yeah. So we teach people how to treat us, by the way. We teach people how to think. So if we get that initial sit down, and let's say it's 30 minutes and you go through the 30 minutes of your value proposition, what you're doing for them, there's a different level of commitment, and that's their time. Or we can just wing it. And when we wing it, they're not going to find the value of our time. And we can't show our value of time if we don't ask for the time. So that's why it says it's one of the most difficult. Even a listing presentation. Sitting down and going through a listing presentation. I know some agents that don't do it. They've been doing this for years. They walk in, they throw in a packet, they list the house. It's worked for them for years. It's not working anymore. It's not. It's that they want to see what you're going to do for them. And it's a great time to say, you just want to say, I've been doing this for 22 years. You're like, dude, it's so easy. It's pricing. But I work with different agents, different sales agents, top producers, individuals, brand new people, different companies, different cultures. And I can tell you there is a common thread. And the common thread is that the savvy consumer is going to want more from you. Common thread is when this market shifts and all those big guys that have been doing a bunch, if they've been laid back, there might be a little unsteady. So 2, the commitment to explore. Our prospects' commitments to explore change allows us to discover the need and analyze the work that will create opportunities and positions to win their business by creating a preference for us or our solutions. So what that means, first, we've got time. Second, you've got explore. What that means is once you've got that time, it is not your time to be on stage and show what you have, right? It is your time to ask the questions, the deeper questions, go deeper, make notes, and strategically hit those points to where you can bring value more so than others. Are you following me at that?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get like a yes? And it's like, I don't know who's on or who's not. If it's no, tell me no.
Yeah.
Are people actually doing it, asking questions? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and even listen, full transparency. If you've been doing this long enough and you know what's coming, it's hard. I mean, when I sit down with an agent from a title side, guys, I sit down with an agent with a team in a shifting market. I already know what's wrong. There are people aren't making calls, hiring, firing. Like I know that, but I don't. But I take advantage of thinking I do. So sitting back and asking the right questions, you're asking for the commitment to explore with you and tell you what's really getting to you, what's really the problem.
Sydney, quick question, as being a new agent, I did an open house this weekend and I have 2 potential buyers that I've been working with, and just hearing this outright, I did everything kind of makeshift, just because I didn't eager to ask for the business up front, didn't take the time to do like this, to break this down. Do you have a suggestion of how you can kind of recapture that attention again, as opposed to, hey, I'm, just a regular introduction, and then just kind of walking around letting them know, hey, I would love to help you, but not really showing like value, what's going to separate you from like you said, you can point and click anywhere. And then also they're looking at new builds, and the buyer was like, or potential buyer, it was like, hey, I put a loan application in, and also I'm looking at new builds in that same community. So I'm kind of like trying to figure out how you can recapture that by showing the value. Because
So let
like
me ask
said,
you a couple questions on that. When you say recapture, did you meet this person or these people at an open house, and did you say, hey, I
yes.
want your business? And what did they say?
So yeah, they came to the open house, got all their information, had the sign-in sheet, and been talking back and forth with them. And he gave me the list of areas that they were looking at and price point. And our last conversation was like, listen, he said, hey, you know what? I'd love for you to help me. But there was no like commitment, like, hey, you know what? You're our guy, So I'm kind of like, well, we don't do this for free. So I'm trying to figure out how do you, like what we were saying earlier, I don't want to go fast and like scare the guy off, because he obviously, the guy's like, man, this is my 4th home. I know that I've been looking. He found the open house on his own. And so I'm trying to capture his attention without pushing him away, since he seems to be, the 1 out of 10 people that think they know everything, but actually knows a lot more than the average person.
So are
If
you
that makes
asking
sense.
on how to get the time commitment and the explore commitment with him, or because it sounds like there was a good rapport, but you're still kind of iffy. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
I don't feel like I have a grasp of it. I feel like, we're friendly, but I don't have a grasp on showing him the value of working with me, aside from just being able to show him homes.
Let me answer that on a light note, and then I'm going to, if it's okay with you, you and I reconnect, just the 2 of us, so we can dig really deep into the conversation and what you say specifically, because the way you say it and how you say it is going to be different than the way Christina says it, or Erwin. And that takes, look, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm practicing right now, guys.
Okay.
Asking for a commitment to explore, so I can really understand your personality, where you go, and help you craft a way to do the same. We just did it. That was brilliant. Thanks. But it's
Could
true.
I put an input on that and express
Yes.
how
So
I do that?
So to tell you what I'm saying is, let me answer it on a surface level, but you can go deep with that. It's not going to be a 5-minute answer that everybody's going to get. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So to answer your question on a surface level where everybody can take away from it, 1, come up with your value, your reason for your next connect. 2, have absolutely what you're going to bring to the table and know what your ask is. So again, that can go deep. Was I talking to Carswell? Was that you?
Yes.
I'm writing a note. Carswell. I used to know John Carswell. I loved him so much.
That's my brother.
Shut
Yeah,
John's
Carol.
brother?
Yeah, Carol is my mentor. Carol is my
Carol Payton.
mentor. Yeah.
He worked with me. I was a team leader. I'm Tamara.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
John, we hired John. I worked with John. Carol Payton was the team leader. I was the assistant team leader, regional trainer. John Carswell was our IT guy. Susie, I mean, like we all grew up together. You're John's brother?
Yeah, that's my older brother. Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. That
Yeah,
is
Carol. Yeah, Carol and Team Legacies who got me in, like Carol and Amanda, well, both
Yes.
Amandas. So that is how I'm in. That is how I'm here. So
This is fate. We will definitely connect. Okay, so let me go back. That is so nice. That's amazing. I've known John forever. I love him. That's exciting for me. So to answer the question on the question level, 1, you've got to define what your real value is. 2, you've got to find a reason that you're calling them back that brings value, and it can't just be too generic. And I'm going to give you an example for that. And this is just an example. I'm not saying you should use this, Linda. I'm talking to you specifically. I think you asked the question, but let's say I'm giving an example where I feel like we connected, but he kind of told me no. Again, you got to read your client. That's why I got to ask Carswell more questions, but I'm just kind of going off, making up my own little, fairy tale over here. But I've even called, you could call back and just say, hey, listen, in our conversation, I was really blown away with how much you know about the market. I do this a lot, and there's a lot of people that don't really know about the market. There's some other insights, though, that I would like to offer, such as off the market properties. I mean, today's world, you would be shocked how many properties never hit HAR. You'd be shocked at the amount of houses. I'm talking like 300 transactions a month. And I'm telling you that 300 transactions a month that are done by people that are not realtors, that have off the market properties, but they use realtors because we have the clients. So you know so much about what's out there. I would like to see if we can get 30 minutes together. Maybe I can grab you a cup of coffee, or we can sit down and I can just start showing you some things that I can bring to the table on these off market. Okay, do you see what I just did there?
yeah.
That's a guy that thinks he knows everything. He doesn't know off market, but off market. By the way, the 300 transactions a month with people that aren't realtors, that's true, guys. That's not just a script. I'm on the title side. I have wholesalers doing 100 deals a month, and they are not realtors, and they have a database, and they will pay a realtor all day long, but they never hit HAR. So I'm just saying that's out there. Okay, so moving on. Commitment to explore. 3, the commitment to change, right? So I'm going to read it and then we'll go over it in our terms. This guy's really smart. He has big words. The commitment to change. The 3rd commitment on the 10 commitments is you're asking somebody to change something. No matter what, if they're buying or selling, you're asking them to change something in their life. The word change has a psychological trigger. We don't like it. Okay, we like addition instead of change. So that's kind of a psychological thing on scripts, right? If you say, and I'm just gonna give you an example just because it's what I do and what I know. I'm in title, I do the same thing you do. I just go after realtors that produce. They may have another title company. My good old fashioned question is, what is it about that title company? They blah, 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 blah. And then I say, if you could add one thing about that title company, if you could add one thing, what would it be? Okay, that is always a great question because they always have something. No one's perfect. We're human. You know what? And it could be used against me too. We're human, You know what? I would add a weekly update. And for the life of me, I mean, I have a great rapport, but I just can't get that weekly update. Probably because you guys grew up together and they're taking a little bit of advantage. They don't send you the weekly update because they know they got you. I mean, I don't say that, but I'm just giving you an example. Change. You're asking for change. So I never use the word change or adding a title company to your list of vendors, not changing the title company, adding. So I'm giving you that for a reason. You're asking somebody to change something. And even though they think they want to change, are you following me on this? You're asking them to sell, you're asking them to buy, it's stressful. Who's bought and sold their own home in the last year or two? I can't see hands because I see faces. But if you have, you can do this for years and you're like, oh my God, stressed out. I mean, It's a stressful time. You're financially changing, you're committing to all these things. So, all right, asking for the commitment to change is a big deal. The value we trade here is a vision of a better future and how we're going to partner with our prospects to experience a better future. In the absence of a compelling reason to change, people are content to live with the status quo. It's worth asking, what are some of the compelling reasons our prospects should change now? What that means is, again, it's going to go back to asking questions. And it's going to go back to where you are strategically crafting, where they tell you why buying a new house is good for them, or what they want out of it, or the emotional. I'm going to give you an example. I'm making this example up. Say I live in Briar Grove and my parents bought me this house. I've got $500,000 in equity and I've got 2 kids. But there's a $2 million house that I could afford because my parents bought me this, but damn, it's going to make my mortgage go up. It's going to change everything. What about this market? What are we going to do? Do I need to go that high? All of these things. So your job would be to sit down with that person, say it's me, talk about the value that a bigger home with a bigger yard will bring, and dig deep. What's important to you about a big home? What's important to you about a big yard? What's important to you about a pool? What's important to you about community? What's important to you? Are you following me with that? You go in when you're going to ask somebody to change that, even if they come to you and go, I'm changing, I'm done. Don't miss the fact that you haven't showed the value of why you're the partner and why they should change. And in layman's terms, if you will, it goes back to reminding them of the, what is it? It's going back to the motivation of the sell. It's going back, I mean, if you want to put it that way, it's going back to the motivation of the sell. But it's deeper than motivation of the sell, because you're getting to painting a future of why that change is going to make a better future and why you partner with them. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, moving on. 4, commitment to collaborate. This commitment is all about obtaining our prospects' input, creating a partnership relationship, and allowing the client to own the solution. So this is the commitment to collaborate. How would we say that in realtor words? Somebody tell me, what am I saying? If I'm asking a prospect for a commitment to collaborate, what does that mean? Come on.
Asking for their business, you mean?
Yes. But here's the thing, when we ask for business, it's the psychology behind saying, hey, we're gonna do business. Yeah, we'll do business. Do business. What does that mean? It's asking for a collaboration. It's asking for the commitment to commit to you, to collaborate together, not another realtor, and make this happen for the better of the future. So you're asking for collaboration, not just the business. But Christina, you answered it perfectly. That's what I was looking for. Because we will say, hey, just like what Carswell's talking about, I'm going to have to call you Carswell. Just like what Carswell's talking about. It's like you got this good rapport and you're like, hey, we were digging each other's energy or jive. I think we got this, right? But you're going to miss an opportunity if you haven't truly asked for the commitment of collaboration. The commitment to collaborate is the value exchanging for the opportunity to collaborate is that our prospects get solutions that are tailored for their needs. To help them get what's going to work for them, they must be willing to engage in a process that brings a specific need. I love this one, because again, it's going deeper than asking for the business. It's going deeper. It's asking, what is it about them? How can you get them to collaborate with you? Because you literally bring something completely tailored to them that others do not. Because even if I say, hey, I want to move because I want a bigger yard for my kids. And then Christina says, I want to move because I want a bigger yard for my kids. We can totally say the same thing. But if you dig deep, it could be for super different reasons that we want a big yard. And then how can you tailor to that big yard? What gives you the advantage? And again, I go back to that off sell. I can give you so many, by the way. I love being on the title side because I see the creativity across the board in the industry. Not just buying and selling. I'm talking wholesale. I'm talking investment. I'm talking flip hold. I'm talking portfolios. So having those kinds of conversations with your consumer, I do have information that your consumer doesn't. So like, let's talk about what that looks like on another call. That's my asking for a commitment of time and collaboration. All right, the commit to collaborate. Moving right along. I'm gonna go a little quicker here so we make it in time. All right, the commitment to build consensus. All right, what does that mean? That is the commitment about giving a voice to those who are affected by the decision of change. Our prospects often want and need the support of their team to move forward for the decision to change. Do you know what that means, guys? That means finding out who's making the decisions. That means finding out if I'm sitting here and I want a bigger yard and my parents bought me the house and I have $500 in equity, pretty sure my parents are probably a little controlling and are gonna have a lot to do with what the house I buy next. So if you know that, you should probably get the commitment to talk to those that are controlling the sale of the buy other than the individual in front of you. Does that make sense? Do you hear that? Show hands, it makes sense? Okay, you gotta dig deep. You have to build consensus, whoever is in the process. How many of you ever been in dialogue with one spouse and other spouse is super busy, but you've got this and you're done, you just haven't met other spouse, but other spouse is totally involved and then lost it because other spouse went separate going somewhere else. Has anybody been there? Show of hands. I've been there. I'm still there. I do it on title. You husband-wife teams, man, collaborate. I could have one in the bag and the other one's like, we're never gonna do any business with her. Right? Or why are you meeting with her? You know, my cousin Sid has a title company, but I met with the wife 7 times. She doesn't really like Sid, but still he's not gonna let wife go with the other title company because Sid's going under anyway. Anyway, all right, so consistency. The commitment to invest. This is number 6. The commitment involves asking a prospect to invest more than it says order, but produce results that they want. The value of trading as a partnership that can help them justify with the investment ask. What that means in real estate terms. You're asking for an investment. You got to remember, we do this every day, so it feels a little, no matter what, especially if you've done this a long time and you're good at what you do, you're going to get a little bit relaxed, you know, a little bit relaxed. Oh my God, you know who does this beautifully? And if she was on the call, I would say it too. Amanda Whitespear. Amanda Whitespear can make everything look and sound so simple. I mean, she's just like, it's easy. You just and you're like, what? Oh, okay. Yeah. It is her superpower, by the way. But it's going back to the commitment to invest. We get a little laxed that we're asking people to take their money, and even if they come to you and say we're ready to do that, we are in. I'm not going to get controversial here, so I don't need any opinions on this. But I don't think anybody doesn't think we're in a scary time. I think everybody unified believes we're in a scary time. Doesn't mean it's all gloom and doom. I mean, even if you're out there going, no, we've got this and we got this. Again, you got old grandma back there in the back of your head saying the revelations are coming and the heavens are open. I'm just using that as get you guys laughing. But we're in scary times. So paying attention to the actual commitment of asking somebody to take money and move money is a big deal, and understanding what that means. So it's the commitment to invest, to buy into that invest and what that means. Number 8, the commitment to resolve concerns. Biggest part of your job, and I preach this to consumers all day long. I'm like, a real estate agent is so much more than the sale of the house. It is the actual, you are a psychologist, okay? You're a mediator. Sometimes you're a handyman. You may even babysit a cat from time to time, right? You are a whole plethora of things between the beginning and the sell. And holding it together is your main power. There is a reason buyers and sellers should not talk directly. Does anybody agree with that? Anybody agree with that? Okay, there is literally a reason that they should not talk. They're not thinking with the financial and the professionalism behind it. I'm going to share a quick story because it's just appropriate. No lie, I was a top producer. I was rookie of the year. This is 22 years ago. I did like 6 million and 13 transactions. I know that sounds like a lot, but 22 years ago, a little different, right? I think I'm a badass agent at the time, right? And I go to sell my own house. Of course, I have my buddy list it, but I'm going to do all the negotiations and things of that sort. We get the best offer in the world. Guy comes in, cash offer, 2 weeks. Hold the contract on another, fell in love with the house. He's going to represent himself. His name is John Kirksey. He's a very wealthy person here in Houston. This is like 20 years ago. I mean, it's just the perfect buyer. He's our age. He's young. He's savvy. He's single. He's buying this house. We got the contract. He said, "Hey, Tamara, before I do this, can I just do one quick run through?" Actually, no, I think we had the contract signed, but he wanted to do a quick run through. I said, "Sure." So he comes to the house. I've shared this house with somebody else at the time. My boyfriend, he wasn't there. He is gone. I'm showing him the house and he goes, "Hey, why are you guys moving?" Y'all, I told the truth and it was the wrong answer. And the truth was, we didn't need this big house. We were planning on getting married. So we were going to sell that, take the money out of it, got a little condo. We're going to travel the world. Then we're going to get married and have babies. Mr. John Kirksey leaves the house, calls me about 20 minutes later. He goes, "You know what, Tamara? I don't need that big of a house. I don't even have a girlfriend. I like to fish. I just don't need that big of a house. Talking to you, I'm in the same position. I'm just going to go back and buy that other one for 180. Ours was like 350 or something like that." Blew the deal, y'all. Blew the best deal of the century. Do you follow me on how I just blew that? Right. If Christina was my agent and Mr. Kirksey wanted to come see the house, Christina would have never given the reason why we want to move. She'd have come up with something a little bit better. They had their eye on something else. They're just moving on. They wouldn't go into this emotional story that the guy related to. I mean, that's how good of a salesperson I am. Not just kidding. But I blew the deal. If I had Christina there, that would have never gone that far in that conversation. That's what you get when you get the seller and the buyer in the same room chit-chatting. So hope that story was worth it. It's a good story. I keep it close to my heart. I share it with everybody because it's true. And to this day, now I'm no longer with that boy, sweet boy, going our separate ways. He does not know that story. He thinks Kirksey I don't know why he canceled the contract. I don't know why. Secrets. Anyway, all right. So resolving concerns, the commitment, we trade the opportunity for our prospects to have professional help in assessing risk, involving concerns, addressing fears, the change. They need you to carry them through the process. Does that make sense? You're asking for that. Number 9, the commitment to decide. This is what historically has been called closing. Years ago, I'm just going to read this. Years ago, it was thought to be the most important and challenging part of selling, but today might actually be one of the easier commitments to obtain, provided we have gained their prior commitments. The value we trade for the commitment to decide is the better future we have promised our prospects. They also get new strategic partners who are going to ensure their success. So, number 9, the decision, the commitment to decide. What he's saying is, back in the days in sales, it was like, that's the most important, that's the close the deal. If you have properly gone through the 8 things that we've just talked about, that's no longer the hard thing. You don't need to do a hard sell. If you have properly gotten the commitments of time, the commitments of explore, the commitments of collaborate, the commitments of consensus, you have gone through those properly. You have already overcome the objections that might come out of you from nowhere and kill the deal. Does that, do you follow me on that? That's why that's number 9, the commitment to decide. If you do this, you don't have to do for a hard close. They're going with you. They're making a decision. Okay. Last but not least, the 10 commitment. The commitment to execute. The commitment to execute. This is where the rubber meets the road. We trade our value of having a partner who's there to help to do the heavy lifting in exchange for the client's willingness to make the change necessary to create results of the future we promised they'd enjoy. This is where we become the trusted advisor. So number 10 is the commitment to execute, the commitment to not just execute the contract, the commitment where you truly become it's the implementation process, right? The execution to make it happen, not just talking about it, not just feeling around, not just looking. Number 10 is the commitment to execute. That's where we're saying we are a valued partner. You're going to buy and sell from myself. So again, those are the 10 commitments of the selling. And I hope, now I can send these to everybody if you want to see them and read them yourself. If you'd like to set up something for me one-on-one, 30 minutes, we can go a little deeper into it. But what I wanted to share today, and I hope I did, what I want to share every time I come to the table with you guys, a value that is an addition and not just a real estate that you can go grab the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and look up, or you can go grab your success book from whoever you started with and look up. This is going to go deeper, the psychological human perspective behind sales and commitments. And what I hope that brings you is value that you, amongst all of your competition, you have something they don't have. And that's the study of this, the true psychology behind it, the true strategy, the meanings, the intentions. You just need a little bit more, just that much. So I hope that brought some of this to the table. Any questions?
This is good stuff.
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're sweet though. Somebody else tell me I'm good. He's always going to say it's good.
Good. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, just go through all the steps and you don't have to do the hard sell.
Yeah. And it's going deeper than just the steps, you know, and even, you know what, Christina, I'll brag on you. You have a connective energy, right? You have, like, when I talk to you, I really feel like you're listening, you know, so you have that almost power, right? So taking that and being really strategic with it, with the questions and understanding your desired result and setting all of these up authentically. I mean, I just think it's a difference maker. It really is. And, you know, when you have your gift, sometimes it's easy just to use it, right? But if you can perfect it with actual strategy behind it, there's no stopping you.
Yes. We'll need to get together for sure.
Yes. I'm writing you down, Christina. I can't believe Carswell. Are you the little brother? Carswell?
I mean, I don't know how little, but I'm the younger brother. I'm the younger. We've got a couple underneath us, but yeah, I'm the
yeah, you
younger
look
brother.
like him. I cannot wait to tell Susie.
Yeah, no, that's he's actually studying to get his license right now as well. So,
Yeah, I think I saw something like that I see on Facebook every now and then on social media. But yeah, John and I were raised together by that Carol Payton.
yep, Carol I was just speaking with her yesterday because she's obviously helping me with building my business and building my brand. So
Yeah,
that's my people.
it is mine too. Okay, any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Please send us your list.
I will send a list. Who did I send the list to, Cindy?
I'll get everyone's emails from who registered.
I'll send it to you and you can send it to everybody?
Yes.
Perfect. I will do that. All right, guys. Again, Tamara Mannen. My number is 713-927-3433. That's my cell. 713-927-3433. Write it down. Feel free to text. Actually, text can be a little bit better because, you know, you'll see the text.
Okay, good. Because I tried to reach out to you on Facebook and that didn't work out.
No, don't. I am so bad at that messenger thing. And, you know, I go through times when I'm good at it. And like my savvy counterparts are like, Tamara, You have to pay attention. I got text, I got FaceTime, I got Teams, I got Zoom.
I'm gonna text you right now.
713-927-3433. Text me. We'll set up a time. We can sit down. We can start with a phone conversation. We can do a virtual. We can do in person. That's what I'm here for. We can close deals all day long. I've got the best escrow officers in the city because I recruited them myself and I was taught from the best. I mean, there's more I want to add value to your business. So let's do that.
Good
Sounds
stuff,
good.
Tamara.
Thank you, Tamara. You were
Thank
awesome.
you. Your next
Have a great
contract,
day.
Fidelity.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.